Yeah.
My bando make a wish, my bando rocks 36, my bando bought me that, bando bought me this, my bando got to jumping jacks, told my niggas just relax, got some blow that take a three, go put this bando on a map, my bando make a wish, my bando rocks 36, my bando make a wish, my bando rocks 36, my bando make a wish, my bando rocks 36, my bando bought me that, my bando bought me this, 247, we ain't close no hoes in here, just O's in here, don't pop no pills, don't treat no people, shoot the smoke some drone here, choppers keep my niggas safe for safety, he gon' take the case, from the jungle with a wrestler in the belly of the snake, hey.
Hey, shout out little bro, Finkel Work. I like that trap bando. It's crazy, I still got that original bando shirt. That's gonna be a classic one day. I want that boy signed back when you first came home and you started classic trap apparel. You hear me? I still got that shirt. OG Kenny, O_G_Kenny. Welcome back to Retired from the Streets TV. So this story here is dear to my heart. It's a personal story. It's something that I wasn't gonna share, but I'm gonna share because it fits into the time frame from the stories I've been telling y'all so far, right? So 1998, I'm on the yard. I'm in Lakeland Correctional. I'm in Coldwater, Michigan. When I first touched the yard, like I told y'all in previous stories, I had homies who was banging GD and banging Cobra, right? Excuse me. So, like I was saying in that story, right? It was real enticing for a dude who from the streets, who got a rep in the streets, so to speak, right? And who really about it. Even though I was young, I was just like gung ho. I was like, where it's at? Let's get to it, right? So, I was a little impressionable, you know, a little bit, but I knew better. So it was like, I ain't used to banging. Being that I'm from Detroit, when, like I said before, we used the sections of the city that claim that you from the east, you from the west, you from this block. It was more of a family thing than an actual banging thing. We from an area that's similar or from the same area, so whatever, boom. So when I hit the yard, I'm running into dudes who's solid, who's speaking eloquent and intelligently. Like I said in the previous story about my dude McKee, the one that said snitching gone wrong, you know that one, murder for hire or snitching gone wrong. When I first met Clifford McKee, and I first met my man Timothy Notorious Dixon, like I said, they was having a mental spar, and I was loving it because I'm right there in the middle taking notes, and it was intriguing to me. I'm like, these dudes, you know, I gotta think these dudes still younger, they're a little older than me, so they probably they in their 50s for sure. So I'm just looking like, and they still look pretty decent, you know, groomed up, skin shining. So I'm like, these dudes young, but they spitting knowledge. They dropping science. And then, like, if you know anything about atoms, right, and about how cell replication occurs, boom, 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 boom. So my mind is expanding, and I'm wide open. I'm wide open. Everybody that knew me from 98 in Lakeland Correctional Facility knew I was always like, what's this you reading, bro? What's that you reading, bro? What's this you reading, bro? That was my thing. I would have books that these dudes was looking for. Like, where you get that book from, man? I'm like, I borrowed it from dog. Like, man, you always running into somebody getting their books. But I'll blow through them, take my notes, and I'm good. And in some cases, I'll pay somebody to go get me a photocopy, right? So, to make a long story short, I was wide open for new experiences and new levels of heightening my sense of awareness and my knowledge of self. So, I'm talking to Notorious one day, and I'm, like I said before, I'm looking at his neck, and I see this triangle pyramid shaped thing, right? So, I'm like, what is this? You understand what I'm saying? Because my daddy got one of them, right? Now, like I mentioned previously, my introduction to Islam was through my father when he did a bid. He came home in the late 80s, early 90s for the last time. And I was 13, 14 years old. I had already been smuggling stuff into the prisons and all type of wild stuff. I had been carrying pistols already and been sold dollar joints in my lifetime. So at 13, 14 years old, my old dude in the joint, I'm the man in the house. I'm not trying to hear none of this information that he's sending me about this Islam and I see Salah and may the peace and grace that flows directly from the throne of God be yours today and forevermore. I'm like, dude, what is this dude on? He done went up in that prison and read a couple of books and lost his wig. But now that I'm in that position myself and I'm hearing these brothers speak and it's making sense and talking about knowledge of self and know yourself and about due diligence and about knowledge, truth, wisdom, understand, you like, damn, this is deep. So when I cut into Notorious, I said, bro, what is that around your neck? My old dude got one of them, right? He said, well, this is my male net. I said, oh, he says like a flag. You gotta. I said, where can I get one of those at? Can somebody make me one? He was like, nah, bro, it ain't like that. You gotta earn this. This is a pledge, an oath and pledge you gotta take to get this. On top of learning literature, on top of coming to service with us, on top of us conducting a background search based on your pre-sentencing investigation. You understand what I'm saying? We got a legal advisor that to go over your pre-sentencing investigation and see if you ain't been snitching and you solid. That's first. Because we're going to select from a pool of dudes who we already know that stood solid in them courts first and foremost. Right? Now, to give you all a brief history about what Notorious was talking about, he was talking about this badge here, right? This is called a male net. Now, a male net is the representation or this is the representative flag for the Melanic Islamic Palace of the Rising Sun. This story I'm telling is primarily about the day I became a Melanic, right? So I get this information from Notorious. He introduced me to a whole bunch of other dudes and whatnot, and they started giving me a brief history about the Melanics. Well, we started in late 70s, early 80s. So I think it was the early 80s to be for sure. I'm going to have some of my older G's who really eloquent in the whole history of it, because I never got that whole story. But from what I understood, you got dudes that was ex-killers, ex-murderers, ex-dope boys who got into prison and decided we got to do better. We need something that we can believe in that takes the best of the more science temple of America, the Nation of Islam. We taking the best of the Black Panthers, the Gangster Disciples, right? We taking the best of all of these, right? Their policies, their belief systems and everything, and we're going to compile them into what we call like the Marines of the religious sect, the few, the proud, the brave. We don't want everybody. That's why we go through a screening process. We want the soldiers though, for sure, right? So what they end up doing is forging this alliance, and the original name wasn't the Melanic Islamic Palace of the Rising Sun. It changed names. It became a charter and a recognized religion in the Michigan Department of Corrections that lasted all the way, that charter lasted all the way up into 2000 when the organization was deemed a security threat group. And 2000 or 2001, I remember being at Macomb when it happened. They had a big ass meeting with us in the gym, like turn in y'all badges, y'all religious material, y'all homework, everything that got y'all name or something on it. Turn it in. If y'all get caught with it, it's going to be considered paraphernalia, gang paraphernalia. You will go to level 5. Blah blah blah. It's the story behind that. It's separate. Now that day when I decided to become a Melanic, I had already understood what it took. I went through the 4 weeks of mandatory service where you got to come to service for 4 weeks. You had to learn the prayers, what the religion was designed to do, and the tenements of faith, basically the breakdown of the male net, what it meant, what the hands going from east to west meant, what the swords crossing each other meant, what the rising sun meant, what the red, black, and green meant, what the 6-pointed star with the black dot in the middle symbolized. All of that, I'll break that down in another episode for the sake of not talking y'all to death and saving time. So today, I finally decide, after much resistance, and the homies talking about you flaking, calling me Reverend Ike, and you switching up, and you about to join them. You don't need no protection. I didn't need no protection. Trust and believe. Right? Michigan ain't like a lot of other states. Like I said, you can kind of be solo dolo if you want to, for real, and just do your bid, stay to yourself. But I just felt a sense of camaraderie with these brothers, man. They was militant like me. They was sharp with it. They was always trying to learn something, and they was disciplined. They was always out there jogging, running, like on some Marine type status. Like they was always preparing for something greater than what they were going through. And I'm like, damn, this is the worst to me that you can go through. So what y'all preparing for? So boom, I end up the day when they said it, said, okay, brother, we inducting you next Saturday, right? I'm nervous. Days counting down. Because now ain't no turning back. You take this oath and this pledge, you know what I mean? You put your hand up, you feel me? And you take the oath and that pledge. What I loved about my introduction, that particular day, when I went up in that malid, or it was really a classroom or room, but we called it the malid, or our word for mosque or masjid, right? We go up in there, the brothers get in formation, they form a 10-man pyramid. Now, a 10-man pyramid is 1 man at the top, 2 men behind him, 3 men behind him, and then 4 other men, right? So that equals out to what? 10 men, right? So now you got the one brother in front who turns around and he says, well, he says everything first. Ishmael, you feel me? When he do that and he slap them hands and they slap him in unison right behind him, boom. Then they put that pyramid on their chest and that right hand over the left, meaning they standing on high. That 2 thumbs pointing up, which means upward direction. We standing on high. We vibrating on a higher level and a higher energy. We're in tune with the one God, right? When I seen that, I had already seen it once before, but me being a part of it, being inducted into the fold with living legends, with dudes who left the street life, who was well-known distributors of narcotics, well-known hitmen, well-known bullies, terrorists in the street who came into prison, changed their lives around, gave their lives to God and a higher calling, and now they bringing me into this fold and embraced me and said, dang, we deem you worthy to be one of our fellow soldiers. From this day forward, you are our brother. Man, going through that induction process, I'm not going to go through the specifics of it, but you talking about, this was one of the first times since probably I was younger and was playing sports and on a little team, that I felt like a sense of brotherhood, right? And a sense of purpose within that brotherhood, where I had a clear and clean and divinely inspired purpose, and I can constantly be myself while always improving and always having dudes around me who are going to provide a checks and balance for me so that they know and I know that I'm on the right path. It wasn't nothing like that day, man. When this is my same male net that I got in 1998. You understand what I'm saying? And we talking about almost 30 years later. Well, you figure it's 20-something years I done had this thing. Still in great condition. I'm still in good standing with the Melanic Islamic Palace of the Rising Sun. I don't rotate consistently no more or none of that. I don't go to service and whatnot. But if the brothers, as far as resources or anything need me, I'm always there. I'm always a phone call away for any of the brothers. It's just that I have my own personal reasons for falling back, and it had nothing to do with the brothers being corrupt, wrong, or nothing. I just had my own way I wanted to go as far as directions and belief systems and whatnot. It didn't have nothing to do with that. I still at my core credit the Melanic Islamic Palace of the Rising Sun for being partly responsible for the man I am today. You know what I mean? They taught me a lot as far as discipline, order, as far as a sense of duty for community, towards our women, towards being a responsible role model and example for the kids. You understand what I'm saying? That day, I took that oath and that pledge on that yard and became a part of what now they consider one of the most notorious prison organizations, right, in the United States, but especially Michigan. And it's a deep story about that I would love to tell, but it's going to have to be broke down in part 1, part 2, because it's a long story. And I know if y'all like me, I don't like sitting here watching 10, 15, 20 minutes of stuff that I really ain't interested in. I want you to get to the point. Give me 10 minutes, 15, I'm out. 10, 15, I'm out. But I just respect the fact that that day, and I love the fact that that day I had an option. I wasn't forced into doing nothing. It was like, what you want to do, brother? And I decided amongst myself to take that oath and that pledge to always be in good standing and be in sound standing with them brothers. Now, certain things I know now were designed, being that organization, and it's still in good standing here in the street, so don't get it twisted. The brother's still in heavy rotation. I see my brother Jalico X on a regular basis, and like I've said before, Jalico was like my godfather damn near when I was little. I ended up doing time with him, and now I see him on a regular basis. And as a matter of fact, my niece, you feel what I'm saying, and his son, my niece is by his son. So it's like these is good brothers, you know what I'm saying, who I still agree with on a lot of levels. I still love on a lot of levels. It's just that certain things I understood were designed for how they were founded in prison. So some of those beliefs had to probably be tweaked for the streets. But that's neither here nor there. They also agree, a lot of them brothers, but then you had too many people in position of a power structure for me at certain times. I didn't like that. I don't like that. I'm a man first, and I love them brothers, don't get me wrong, but I'm always follow my heart first. And if my heart say fall back for a minute and support y'all from a distance, that's a good thing to me, because that means it's still love and you still got me when you need me. You feel me? It's just like having a family that you don't go around all the time, but when they need you, you pulling up, guns blazing, or the barbecue grill blazing. You understand what I'm saying? So that was me finding my footing when I first got to prison. And then that foundation, that oath and pledge, that day of induction, it carried with me throughout all of my terms of incarceration, and even now a lot of those truths and tenements that we accepted and vibed off of and believed in and subscribed to still carry me and give me a backbone and a foundation as a stand-up guy, and they give me my 10 toes, man. So shout out to all my brothers, feel me, and the Melanic Islamic Palace of the Rising Sun. I see Salah, you feel me. May the peace and grace that flows directly from the throne of Allah Salah God be yours today and forevermore. And I bid y'all all a good afternoon. I love y'all. Let me go on and get this video chopped up and up to YouTube so y'all can watch it. Peace and love. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. For sure, for sure. Get in the comment section. Share the content, right? And put your people up on the channel. I mean, I don't speak nothing from the heart and speak truth. You can watch everybody else you want to. Just mess with your boy every now and then. OG Kenny, O_G_Kenny. I'm playing. At Retired from the Streets TV. I love y'all. I'm out.